The train headed for Sunset City will be departing soon.
Hello and welcome, everyone. Welcome to Sunset City, the Sonic podcast for the classic and modern age. Over on the far end of the table, wait, what the hell's going on over here?
What? Wait, what?
What?
Okay, well, I suppose we have Channel Pup. Speak for yourself, young man.
He's dead.
Oh, yeah, basically, I died of liver failure. Now the reason is I was watching through the Sonic Colors Ultimate reviews yesterday, and I decided to do a drinking game for every time they regurgitate the same 20-year-old point about. And yeah, I had failure and fucking died. Thank you, gaming journalist. You killed me.
Sonic sure had a rough transition into 3D.
Yep, and I sure had a really nice transition to death, honestly. It's been pleasant.
Well, good
Video
to
game
know
players
you're...
are on a rough transition into any other topic point. That's all. Don't worry about it.
I'm glad you're doing well in the next life, Pup. Next to Pup, we have apologist extraordinaire, wears everything green possible, Nick.
Reach for the cars. Ciao.
I'm gonna freaking... And then we have the best Rimuru cosplayer in the room, Cirrus.
I don't know what a Rimuru is.
You know, it's Rimuru from that time I got reincarnated as slime. Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you, Wayne. You know what? I'm actually just going to switch to full-on slime mode for this entire episode.
Yes, please. My coworker and I were gushing over your slime model the other day. And of course, I am Wayne. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
I hate Sonic Colors.
Oh boy.
Vividly erotic.
Honest
All
to
right.
goodness,
Good to hear.
honest to goodness, this has given me life.
Yeah?
A bit anyway. Just give it a moment. It will kick in soon.
So there we
Go
go.
ahead
All
and
right.
talk.
So here's before we get into it, obviously we got some stuff that Wayne will present us with. I think it is important for us as your mayor to put a new decree out in terms of like super chats and things like that. We are still going to keep reading the chat as we go on, but just for the sake of clarity, especially when I start archiving all of our episodes in whatever the audio form, just so it's less of a mess while we're talking, we're going to be saving the super chats for later on after the big topic. So we will still say, oh, thank you. But just to reading the comments or reading like the bigger questions that could lead into different topics, we're going to be saving that towards the end of the episode, just so we can keep a flow of conversation going. We have enough digressions as it is. So, you know.
That is true.
And as Emperor, I agree to it.
Well, today is kind of the release day of a new Sonic game. It's
Kind
the
of.
early access day. Oh, Jesus, he's big. Sorry, I had the YouTube page like caught up in my side monitor, and I just saw like this giant rimmer.
Oh dear God, there it is.
Giant
Yeah.
slug.
Oh, we got perfect Cirrus here, ready for fighting.
Perfect.
Looks like we need
Anyway,
Wayne. Someone summon him.
well, with the digital deluxe version of Sonic Colors Ultimate, players can receive like what 4-day early access to the game, and all four of us have played it here, and we thought might as well be a good enough time to sit down and share our thoughts on Sonic Colors Ultimate. Where do we want to start?
I guess we could start with the version everybody's playing, because all of us are having somewhat different experiences.
Yes. Cirrus, you and I are both playing the Epic Store PC version, right?
Yes, we're both playing the Epic PC version, which is I'll get into my gripes in a bit.
All right. Pup, what about you?
I'm not just playing the Nintendo Switch version, but the Nintendo Switch Lite, so I'm getting an exclusively handheld experience here.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
And Wayne?
I am playing the PlayStation 4 version, although I guess I should mention I'm playing it on a PlayStation 5, just in case there's any differences in how the game functions on different hardware.
And I should also, I'm kind of curious for you guys too. How far have you gotten? Because I literally just downloaded it an hour before we started, and I've only just beaten Tropical Resort.
I am currently tickling the tip of Terminal Velocity.
I'm halfway through Starlight Carnival right now. So me and you and I are about in the same spot right now, I think, Nick.
Fair enough. What about you, Pup?
And I'm currently stimulating the shaft of the water level. What was it called?
Aquarium Park. Aquarium Park. Yay!
I mean, we already did like a shaft joke, and there's a whole bunch of wetness. You couldn't have taken that joke somewhere else. So many genitals to play with, Pup.
There's so many places he can come and
Many
take that
genitals
joke.
to play with, I know, but I'd rather just play with my own.
So
Jamal, thank you for the super chat. We can do that one quick. B3 forever. Thanks, man.
we can. So I guess first of all, I will say there's a couple things that I want to at least bring up in reference to like previous things we'd said about how the game looked in earlier builds. You don't, when you're in the moment-to-moment gameplay, some of the things like the PNG wisps or the lighting issues, outside of the weird lighting on Sonic, you don't really notice most of those issues in the moment-to-moment gameplay. So that's at least a bonus. Let me know when you want me to start railing on all the other problems.
In terms of in terms of the at a first glance look at this game, like when I got it loaded up on the Switch, I thought this looks great. And I mean, maybe it's worth keeping in mind that like for PS4 game or whatever, it's not necessarily going to push too many boundaries, but I'd say it's one of the prettier games that I've got on my little Switch Lite so far. As for Sonic looking like a glow stick, I honestly didn't notice because I've mostly spent my playthrough with the movie Sonic cosmetics, which make him supposed to glow anyway. So like, I can't really comment on base Sonic until I've really played with him. But I think the game looks really pretty. And especially for a Switch game, I think they've got it really nicely optimized for the overall look.
I gotta agree with you, man. Like this is why it was interesting because we were kind of doing a little bit of talking prior to this, but like, this is just like just being a Sonic fan, like just how many times we've just been in different opinions about this stupid release. And I feel like I've been like incredibly negative, all things considered, and well, in terms of my critiques with it. So far I've had a pretty good time, and I thought that the lighting changes have been looking good. I really like how Tropical Resort looks. My only real beef is the stark contrast in what it looks like when we cut over to those cutscenes.
Oh yeah,
Those
Oh,
those
yeah.
are looking
It is
rough.
real rough.
they
It is
could
really,
have
really rough.
they could have like the thing is like they're never going to be able to replicate the lighting engine through doing post effects and stuff, but they could have at least color graded it a bit differently and added a little bit of that bloom look in post just to make them look a bit more closer. At least like they'll never replicate it, they could get it closer.
Well, I think we have a lot of evidence that there's a lot of slapdash when putting this thing together. It's I think we kind of found that out with some data mining and things of that nature. But I mean, for the other side of the table, like, how have you guys been handling your experience? What are your initial thoughts?
I haven't found anything that makes me regret the existence of the game, but I have found a lot of stuff that just feels very, very rough around the edges. And not in the sense that like, oh, well, this game is fine, it's just not polished, but no, like little easy things. There was a moment that I showed to you guys in the Sunset City chat for Tropical Resort Act 3 where the game is loading in and Sonic's model just doesn't load, and then you just like see the animation for him descending starts, but there's no Sonic present. You just see his shadow get more and more visible, and then just like this fetal
Yes.
this fetal position Sonic just kind of
Yes!
slowly scoots his way into the actual level.
It's
And
my
then-
favorite part of the game so far.
And then the level begins in earnest. And there's a couple things like that. So hold on, I've got a couple notes because it's not just stuff like that. And again, these are things that don't affect the moment-to-moment gameplay. These are things that when you see them, you're just like, wow, that looks rush. Wow, that looks amateurish. Tropical Resort, the first act of it, when I started out, took about 20-ish seconds to actually load in, which was weird because in Sonic Colors, the music for the levels doesn't start when the level begins. It starts when the act screen is shown to you. So the level music in several levels, especially in stuff in Starlight Carnival, is supposed to start when Sonic drops into the stage. It's supposed to be like that crescendo, almost like when Sonic jumped onto the board in Sonic Adventure 1 in Ice Cap Zone. It's supposed to be like that, because the game doesn't use stems. And that's fine. Except when the loading takes so long that the beat that you're supposed to have there is completely missed in so many levels. And again, it doesn't affect the gameplay, but it's really jarring. Not to mention, if you watch the opening, the opening scene for the game, not cutscene, because the game doesn't have an opening cutscene, but the Reach for the Stars thing, when the remix for Reach for the Stars is playing, they didn't do anything about the footage to sync it up to the remix, so it feels like you're watching the music video for an old song in the 90s, and then they just put a remix to that song, but they did nothing to the video, and it feels so out of place, but it's there. And these are all things that just, they speak to a slapdash nature of building the game. And again, I hate to keep saying over and over again, it doesn't affect how the game plays, but it does affect your experience with the game, where this stuff just kind of takes you out of it repeatedly.
I do just want to say, like, my biggest bugbear with this is the audio mixing. Like, the audio here
It's weird.
The audio is unacceptable, in my opinion. Like,
What the fuck is going on with the drums in the opening?
Well, like, so I've been playing this with earbuds in because I don't want to listen to it through Switch speakers.
Did you have the same thing happen where, like, a level ended and suddenly you were hearing it very well out of your left ear only?
Yeah, on the ending screens, the audio is so scuffed. But
Yes.
I think that the best instance of audio scuffage in this is in Starlight Carnival Act 5. It's the bit where you get to that massive 3D platforming section with the Hover Wisp. And, like, all of the audio is cutting off way too early, be it rings, be it the bonk sound effect on the robots. But my favorite part of all is when the Hover narration guy just goes, huh! And then you go into the Hover Wisp, as opposed to him actually going through and saying the words. It's like, huh!
Man.
It's so scuffed. It's so it is completely wrecked in the audio department. But speaking of audio though, the remixes. This is another just baffling decision for me. Is I really, really, really like the new sound that is brought to the soundtrack with the remixes. But it's very much a different sort of musical language in a way to the rest of the soundtrack, which is the old tracks. It's just really weird to me that
it sticks out to you when a remix starts in the game. It really does.
It's so strange to me that they kind of combined the soundtracks as opposed to having like a toggle instead, which would have been way better in my opinion.
I guess I just haven't had the same audio issues as you guys have. I'm only in like the first zone, as it were. But
just wait till you get to Starlight Carnival Act 5.
It starts mucking up a little bit once you get there.
It's so funny.
I'll give that a listen when I get there. This is just the first time I played the game with like headphones on, and I guess I just appreciated the clarity of some of the sound effects I've never noticed before. I had a pretty good time with it audio wise. I'm more interested in when we get to Planet Wisp because I've heard that remix, and it completely destroys what the point of that level was.
It worked
like the turning point in the storyline. But going from this soft kind of sad opening, but still having that energy as you go through it, having a more naturalistic tone to it, mixed in with some, more mechanical stuff because, it's a natural world getting torn apart, and then turned into just a fucking rave with baby diapers and glow sticks and all that shit.
Yeah, it speaks almost as if the the studio that was supposed to do this, which granted they've done other remakes, like not remakes but remasters like this, because they were responsible for the BioShock remakes on the Switch.
They're quite reputable for it as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
but it feels like when you've got subtext that was required in something, they just go, we didn't care about that. It's fine. It's fine.
I think the visual bug that sticks out a lot to me, because this happens every time you use a Wisp, is if you look at the Wisp's power gauge in the bottom left, the post effect that goes with the draining meter is completely not lined up at all with the meter.
Oh, I
like-
completely forgot about fucking. I was thinking about
It's-
other bugs. So
It applies every time. There's so much object pop in, pop out as well. Like, especially in Starlight Carnival, there's that bit where that big neon ship emerges from the black hole thing. And you see the lights of the ship, but the ship is invisible for a good hot minute until it pops in. And I was just like, oh, come on.
there's another thing that just it stuck out to me, and I forgot about it for a second. But in Act 3 of Tropical Resort, when you first get your laser wisp, I don't know if anybody else experienced this, but I know that on Twitter, King K showed footage of this, and then I experienced it on mine as well. I've got it recorded. Of just you get your laser wisp, you use it, and then the game just stops. It just freezes. It's like, no, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. And then yeah, like you activate it, and then it just freezes for a good 3 seconds. And then it starts again, and every time you activate it in that level, for me, I don't know if it was the same for Nick, but I know that at least 2 people have experienced this, so that means that there's more people who do. The Wisp just doesn't like the game. They do not play nice with one another in certain sections of that level, and it's weird. Not to mention the weird black screen that happened the first time I booted it up, where I heard all the audio. I could see the cursor for the mouse, but, you know, fuck me if I could actually see a HUD or anything like that. None of that loaded.
Fortunately for me, it seems that the Switch doesn't have any game-breaking bugs so far. Like, I didn't have any issues with the laser. I had my buddy Dominic playing on the PS4, and we loaded the games up at the same time. And I was just like, how many glitches have you encountered? And he was like, well, the menu screen didn't have any music. And I was like, isn't this incredible? The game's been out for 10 minutes, and we're always saying, how many glitches have you encountered? This truly is the Sonic age.
Here's the thing about digital early releases. There's kind of 2 fronts for this. First off, it is pushing towards a more digital, trying to incentivize people, buy digitally as opposed to physically, because there's, less people they have to pay. So they're really trying to push towards that future, because that's where the gaming industry is going. Secondly, though, we do kind of play something of beta testers, last minute beta testers, because unfortunately for multi-platform releases, even old games like this, some that have been, commendably put together in certain aspects, it is still multi-platform. It is still having to deal with a lot of different ways of playing this game, and when you throw it out to millions of people, they are going to run into issues. So they do need that feedback so they can patch it out, unfortunately. I'm not saying that that's an okay thing to do. I'm not saying that this game shouldn't have had a little more polish. I think the original Sonic Colors certainly deserves that much, because I do have plenty of issues still about the way this was re-released. But that said and done, I do think they are going to be taking the feedback, and we do live in an age now where things can get patched out, and I assume that's exactly what's going to happen with this game.
Every now and again you do. And obviously, this isn't the case with this game. The game works fine on its own, despite all the issues. But we do live in an age where No Man's Sky is a completely different game upon release than it is now.
Yeah, and again, I've not run into the issues you guys have run into as of yet, which again is just phenomenal, because Epic Games Store is not known to be most user-friendly thing on the planet.
You are the guy they needed to please as well for this one.
Yeah.
I hated.
With me, I was all like, "Oh, it's gonna be fine. Don't worry, guys." And now I'm the one saying, "Oh my god, the robots fall way too fast in Aquarium Park. This is hilarious. They're falling to their fucking deaths as well. Like Eggman just has no health and safety measures for those robots." But I would say this: am I glad I bought it? Hell yeah! Like, I'm loving this, and as well as that, it's given Sonic Colors a new lease of life for me. Like before playing today, I was like, Sonic Colors is it's all right. But I'm playing this today. I'm just like, I'm having a blast. It might be down to the fact that I played it with a trackpad and keyboard before, but like, I'm having a bunch of fun, and yeah, but like, Jesus Christ, some of these bugs are fucking embarrassing.
I
Sega,
think it did
please.
come down to you playing it with a trackpad and keyboard before. I did not have that knowledge when I watched your Sonic Colors video.
Probably also input lag from running Dolphin on a old laptop from 2011 as well.
Yeah, now that I have that information, I'm no longer taking anything you say seriously ever again.
Oh, you know what? Yourself serious.
At least
So
when Tom Topics covered Unleashed, she was like, "Yeah, no, I decided to torture myself. Use the Wiimote."
Well,
I
like we'll get into that at a later date, but what I will say is my point still remains that everything Forces did was learned from Colors.
Yeah, I mean most of the later Sonic games have been learned from this and Unleashed before that. And I gotta say, like the reviews are as strong as they are because the original game was as strong as it was. Every bit of praise going towards this game is from what was already there.
Yeah,
True.
that's 100% something that I've basically said in an upcoming video. Actually, like in my sort of verbal script, I basically said, like, in an earlier video when I did the Forces v Colors thing, I basically said I get the feeling that critics will give this great reviews because they didn't play the remaster but just played the original, so regardless it'll get good reviews. I think that has happened here because, like, I look at these reviews and 90% of them are saying Sonic has a rocky history but this one good, and then at the end they'll maybe say, oh yeah, the visual updates are fine, by the way. And like that in the video that I fucking dragged through the mud in my little reaction video, the only gameplay was Tropical Resort as well. So I get the feeling that a lot of critics are not playing this properly. But like, all the same,
I don't get why you guys get like just so fucking upset over. It's like they can't win, man. Like they're giving this thing good reviews, but we still got to be mad that they're bringing up old shitty games. It's whatever.
Look,
it's whatever.
All I'm gonna say is that Sonic 06 does not keep getting brought back as a punching bag for no good reason.
I understand
I
that,
agree.
but it's like, the thing is, like, there was saying, you know, Sonic had a rough transition to 3D in 2006, and then they're saying it in 2021 in a post-generations, post-colors, post-Unleashed world, and it's like, Sonic's transition to 3D happened in 1998. Fucking leave it be.
I get that,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's like,
As far as I'm concerned, it's irrelevant to a review of a remaster of Sonic Colors. Like,
well,
it's
yes and
basically-
no. The importance of colors back then was because of 06.
So I actually did kind of want to hit on that because I've been having an interesting experience with this game because I think I've mentioned in the podcast before just sort of my lack of history with Sonic Colors because I did not play a whole lot of it when it first came out. So this is like basically playing a new game for me. And the thing that I'm getting is that I'm not really in love with anything I've played so far. I like it. It's all just been kind of like, yeah, this is all right. This is fine. The problem for me is that I've also played Generations. And this is a gameplay style that I feel has been built on and furthered later. And I would expect a remaster like this, where they're adding like, oh, here's controller options that you can customize and everything like that.
Okay, right. So
Yeah. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
getting to that. Pump.
get into it. Go on.
yeah,
get
because
their
it's
ass.
like-
Do it. Do the
because
thing.
this gameplay has evolved in small little ways that have helped make it a more comfortable and more cohesive experience. Something like, being able to press the shoulder buttons to switch between left and right to do the quick step. No, in Sonic Colors Ultimate, you are stuck with doing it by, like, wiggling the freaking thumbstick in one direction or the other, and
That's
it is
so
awful.
stupid.
Like, no, but like, here's the thing. Also, why did they advertise customizable controls as like a major part of their ad campaign?
Yeah.
It's like Sonic Colors Ultimate has an options menu. Whoa, you know?
I'm not disagreeing with some of your points. It's just I think I'm just more I get where they're coming from with the '06 comparison, but I also get on the other side getting sick and tired of hearing about it. I get it
Yeah.
because we are at a point now we're well past all that, and yeah, I'm in the camp too where while those games are my least favorite of the Sonic games, Shadow and '06, because I think they are kind of trash. I also understand and agree that I do think they overcorrected in way too many ways in the
I
game's
didn't-
following, and I do miss a lot of aspects that were brought to the table from Adventure all the way through '06. So I completely understand where you're coming from. It's just, it's whatever. I'm more focused
Yeah.
on how well Colors is still being received, and I do appreciate that much. That said, I also think that there's a lot here, and I apologize because it's going to get redundant for you, audience, when you hear us talk about it in our own individual videos. And I apologize if any of us are jumping into each other's opinions, because I do think we are on the same page with a lot of stuff. But just bluntly, right now, from what I've seen, I don't hate the new stuff, and actually think I appreciate some of it a little more than I anticipated. But at the same time, there's not enough here for a double dip if you have easy access to the original game, in my personal opinion.
I did also just want to reiterate for anybody that is hopping in now. A lot of really, really generous donations and super chats in.
Yes.
Holy shit. Just to reiterate, we are not ignoring you guys. We do see you. By God, do we appreciate it. But
Jesus Christ,
We're
yeah.
very
For-
uncomfortable. We're very embarrassed. Like,
Yeah.
honestly,
the,
I think I'm gonna vomit, man. Like, so,
for-
oh my goodness, do not send
We're
any
just
more.
here. We're
Like,
just
if you
here to
send
talk
any more,
about.
I will die. I will die if you
Oh
send
God,
more.
that's incentive. I'm kidding.
I will.
but
If you want to kill me, this is the way of doing it.
I'm just.
I did
I'm-
just want to say we will be addressing each one of these later on, just for the sake of smoothness for the podcast. But thank you guys so much. I just don't want you guys to think we were not seeing that.
Thank
Of
you,
course.
guys. Incredibly awkward.
We're just here talking about blue hedgehogs, and y'all are just being so fucking wonderful. Why?
Having some kind of wallet party in here, jeez. Financial gain.
All right. Well, speaking of,
Colors.
since we were trying to stay on point here, where are we at with Colors right now? Who is talking?
Wayne was giving some of his opinions.
Hi
Wayne.
Colors is fine. I'm liking it. Like I said before, I'm like right outside the final area, so like terminal velocity. There's like some levels I really enjoy. Where I feel like the pace is good. The it keeps the action moving. And then there's been a lot of moments today when I've been playing Sonic Colors Ultimate, and I've been thinking to myself, this is the weirdest Mario game I've ever played.
Yeah, it's the whole structure of the game. It does feel like that the first moment where the Sonic team just went, okay, what if we just emulated Mario? Let's have about 6 levels in a world. Let's have a world map that looks like Mario 3, Mario World, New Super Mario Brothers. Let's do all of that, and let's see what happens. See if people like it. That seems to be what's happened.
Yeah, it's weird because I've never heard people outright make the comparison between like Sonic Colors and Mario gameplay. Not that I remember anyway, but it's just like that's all I can think of with a lot of these levels where it is so Sonic Colors feels like it has this obsession with slowing the fuck down, and it drives me kind of crazy.
So a lot of the comparisons for Mario seem to have come up around the Sonic Lost World area because the game, the gravity stuff made it feel a little bit like it was a Galaxy clone to some people. But the more you play this game, especially with the hindsight of Sonic Lost World, it does feel like this is when a lot of the Marioification of Sonic began. Like this was a turning point.
Like,
I still say a little tiny bit of it was in Unleashed, and it kept going forward from there. And I know people disagree with me, but the opening title screen in space and while Orchestra is not, trademarked by Nintendo, it did feel more like it came from the Mario Galaxy soundtrack. Like, I thought that was a little bit weird first time I played Unleashed, but then it went into more of its own thing as you went to the game. And I still feel like Colors has a lot of its own unique gameplay. I really do think I appreciate what they were trying to do with the moment-to-moment gameplay a little bit more in teaching the player how everything works together. But there are a lot of times, and I do talk about it, I'm going to talk about it in the script too, but like that first boss, I found it very awkward. And it's because I'm still like rusty with it. That's why it's not a review yet. But I also did notice like, wow, I'm having a really hard time on this literal circle of a map where if this was classic Sonic gameplay, this would be a really fucking fun boss fight. But here it's just awkward and weird. I don't know that's a different point, but like I do agree with you. Like this is where it's like you see more and more Nintendo seep in as each game passes by. Unleashed had a very, very little hint of it. Colors goes full on with the Galaxy theme. Still makes it its own, but yeah, as terms of level structure is concerned, it does feel very much like Mario's 2D platforming shit, where you would have some smaller levels and then the bigger levels, and the overworld does look very Mario Worldy to me.
Well, that's definitely a part of it, but I'm even talking like just moment to moment stuff. Those platforms drive me crazy. The ones where you have to sit on them and then they slowly rotate around while you're waiting.
Like the latter part of Planet Wisp has a lot of that. Like,
yes, you're right.
And
I mean,
fuck some of the wisps too. Okay, I'm sorry. Can I get into this shit?
Burn the
wisp. This is new to me.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, what the fuck were they thinking with the laser wisp? Why is it in 360 degrees? No. Do 8 directions so that it's easier to actually snap it between, or 16 if you really want to go that far. So it's easier to snap between, okay, here's this direction that it's going to start flowing into this way, especially since so many of the areas that you're actually using the laser wisp are going to be 2D side-scrolling sections anyway, so that should just work. I cannot tell you how long I sat there for the first couple of times I was trying to use this stupid freaking blue turd, just trying to like actually line up the direction I wanted to go into, because nothing snaps into the direction it's supposed to. And then, okay, fuck the fucking box wisp.
Yeah.
That thing sucks. It's so goddamn slow. It takes forever for it to do anything. You know what else sucks? Okay, so there's those sections where you got the little spring pad that like flows under you and is supposed to be following you around and everything, but you are at the mercy of this thing anytime it's going up or down, because it will not follow you left or right, and it does not follow you up or down quicker the further you go. And then if you are just trying to go left from right and it is following you, it feels awkward as hell, because every time that you bounce back down, your forward momentum stops entirely and nothing about it is smooth. I am sorry. There were a lot of things about this game I am not liking.
So
these are the things I hated about it in the early days.
This is the stuff that I remember from Pup's video too. There's a thing that I want to point out. That just to piggyback off those points, Wayne. So you mentioned the issues with the laser wisp. Now, I'm going to throw something out there that I think everybody will probably agree with. Every section where you have to use the laser wisp, were this an older Sonic game, this could have just been a Lightspeed Dash section. Yeah. And it would have taken no effort. It would have been infinitely easier. The Cube Wisp, every puzzle that the Cube Wisp is there to solve, the level design almost makes it seem like a bounce bracelet to get higher would have done the job, with the exception of a few areas.
While we're on the subject of Sonic's moveset being stolen by these little alien fuckers, can we talk about the spike?
Oh, you mean the Metroid Spider Ball wannabe?
Yeah.
I think I'm a little bit more positive on some of this stuff than you guys are. I've not gotten to the Block Wisp yet, so it's been literally 10 years since I've checked it out. So I'm just gonna listen to what you guys are saying about it, because yeah, Wayne here. No offense to you other two, but like I know he's a little bit more engrossed in gaming in general. That's why I watch your videos. So I do find your take on it, especially since it's your first time with it, especially interesting. So it's going to be a lot of fun for me going into that sections when I get there. That said, like I said, like while I was playing through Tropical Resort and I was noticing like where the Drill Wisp is going to come in and stuff like that, it was like I do think the game at least starts off like it does a decent job with people who are sloppy with this gameplay, because I am a little bit sloppy with it. There's like 3 buttons that do a bunch of things. And you have to do them in fast succession, and it's very forgiving. But I can also tell, like, I could do way better if I keep doing this over and over again, and I appreciate that. Again, this is just Tropical Resort. The thing about the Laser Wisp that actually strangely bothers me, because I don't mind it being Lightspeed Dash-ish, as long as they keep it, platform puzzly in some aspect that the Lightspeed Dash can't do, and I think it does occasionally. That said, did the original game fade that darkly with the laser? Or is that
Kinda, but
Kinda.
the thing I noticed with the laser is that there's a weird after image thing going on with it now, where you literally see 2 of the laser balls now. Like, has anyone else noticed that? Like, there's a weird
I haven't-
picture echo.
I haven't
I didn't
noticed
see
the
that,
echo,
no.
honestly.
I haven't, because it gets so fucking dark. I can't even see where I'm pointing the wisp.
Oh, but it's bright. That's the. Oh, okay. That might be a prescription glasses thing that you might need to look into.
I'm not crazy here. Like, the screen goes it fades really dark when you pick up the laser wisp and activate it, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right,
Yep.
Grandpa. The wisps.
So I complain about it, and I gotta be the ass. You go,
Look, man, we just don't care for you, okay? In this neighborhood.
It's okay, Nick. I'm loyal.
I'm just
I
joking.
appreciate it. I
I'm
appreciate it.
also.
But
I'm
no,
also loyal.
I
Spank
didn't-
Me.
I didn't experience the echo effect, but the screen. So the screen darkening, I do remember that from the original release, and it doesn't strike me as any darker in this game, nor does it seem to really affect me personally. But maybe it's just because I played through Sonic Colors multiple times years ago, so like maybe it's just that my brain's got a lot of this stuff in muscle memory. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
It doesn't seem to bother me all that terribly much.
Thing that affects me personally, as in it basically fucked my wife, is why are the backgrounds on the end screen so high contrast?
You know what else is weird? So the end screen, I remember in the end screens in the original, you had like the music would keep playing, and then when the music stopped, that was basically when the end screen was done. Then you go to the next level. In this one, the music stops, and then it just waits with no music awkwardly for fucking ever.
I've heard about this. It does the music. It does the music on Switch, but it only plays in the right earbud.
Again, I think that might be an individual issue there. I'm not saying that that's okay to do, but I've not had any issues with the
I just find it
sound
funny.
mixing or any of that stuff. But we are again, like, this is just acceptable because we as gamers have all accepted this. This is like day one problems with the game that
Yep.
we expect for them to fix later, and that's a larger problem with the industry as a whole, and
It
what
is,
Sega is
yeah.
allowing to happen. I'm gonna say it in my video. So again, I'm sorry for being redundant, guys, but like, the more I think about it, like, I'm finally at the point, because I was pretty okay with Switch getting old releases re-released. I'm getting to the point, and again, I understand pandemic times. I'm getting fucking tired of the way they're doing it. I'm getting really sick and tired of it. I'm tired of there being like, there's always something that keeps this from being exactly what we would hope it to be. Skyward Sword is too expensive. Mario's too expensive and for a limited time. And Sonic just has a bunch of weird, needless changes for some fuck off reason, and still might technically be a little bit too expensive, when all of us would have been very okay with them just slapping in a couple of other boost games and let that be that. Because I don't know if we can really call this the ultimate version of the game, especially since there are many people that would argue the ultimate version of the game is still trapped on the DS. So I got a problem with the name.
Yes, version.
Ultimate,
DS?
and especially when you compare this to another Sega game that's about to come out.
Oh, Monkey Ball.
Monkey Ball.
Yep.
I'm
For
so
fuck's
fucking
sake.
excited about Monkey Ball.
Look what they're doing. Those are old games. It feels brand new with everything they're doing. Why the fuck isn't Sonic getting this kind of attention? Why isn't it getting that kind of care?
So
he's-
I was thinking about this while I'm sorry, Cyrus.
No, you go ahead. You're fine.
I was thinking about this while I was playing, and it hit me that I'm just like, there was a really sad moment that I had. I was just like, I think Sonic Team might not be good at making games. But I was like, I was thinking to myself, I think the biggest problem that they have, because it always seems to center around their anniversary projects. I've noticed. I think they're just really bad at planning things. And I mean, honestly, I don't doubt that this that Sonic Rangers or whatever it turns out to be once it's completed, maybe was supposed to come out this year to coincide with the anniversary. But you know, the pandemic and everything, which does affect the industry to no small degree. So I feel like Sonic Colors Ultimate really was just kind of like they needed to get something out the door, which
Game,
if
now
we take
fuck
a look
off.
at if we take a look at some of the ways in which it was made, there might be something to say about that.
And that
ISOs.
I think that's going to be the next big thing to get into is the data mining that's happened on this game. Because in earlier episodes, some of the information we had was like they didn't have a lot of the core assets of the game originally. They didn't have a lot of the old files, so they had to make a lot of the stuff from the ground up. That's why some stuff seemed so slapdash and so weird, because they were having to do it from scratch. And yeah, no, it turns out all of that was wrong. Now that we have access to the files themselves, I have to ask you, with the game originally releasing on the Wii, what would we expect to find if they didn't have access to the original files? Well, we would probably not find me data in the game. and yet, and I will actually, for those who are here, I will actually pull up the specific thing, because I know when you were like, okay, can you point out some of the issues that are here with me? Can you kind of explain this? I was like, well, there's this me shit just kind of in here. So
They didn't have the original source code is still correct, because it was recompiled from the ISO as opposed to the original fucking source code. And basically what happened was, as they were recompiling it into whatever it's called, a lot of the stuff bugged out and they had to, you know, tweak things. So it's kind of like they had the resources there, but they had to reassemble some bits. That's what my understanding of it is.
But the thing is, though, is that if you've got the original source code there, like, if you're having so many issues, I hate to be the person that just argues in favor of internal emulation at this point. I really don't want to be, but I feel like some of these issues wouldn't exist if that was the case. Again, a lot of that stuff's going to be fixed later on down the road, but we have found just a plethora of just random ass shit that's just left in here. Like, there are dev tools still on this disc.
There's literally cutscene animations in there, which is like, what the fuck? Why do we have these upscaled things then?
If
when
they're here,
to have the animation data, and that pisses me off a little bit, because that just feels.
Because with the original game, those cutscenes, the reason that there's no texturing on Sonic's gloves and stuff like that is because those original cutscenes were all in-engine. Because, and that was one of the things that made a lot of people go, oh, wow, the Wii can actually do some pretty interesting things. Later on, when we got Generations, we could actually see, like, oh, there's actual texturing on his gloves now. There's more high fidelity to the model. We understand now the difference between an in-engine cutscene in both games, but all those cutscenes were in-engine. So the fact that the animation data is there, the fact that a lot of that original stuff is there, it makes the upscaling job, the AI upscaling, it makes it feel incredibly slapdash and lazy, like with a lot of the earlier like audio issues that we've been encountering with some of the weird visual bugs. It feels like, and I know it was already said earlier, but I'm going to echo it again, it does feel like this is a game that Sega had like a panic moment and they went, oh shit, we do need to release something for the 30th anniversary, don't we?
Yeah. And oh man, those
cutscenes. And then this just happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it goes. I don't know, man. I again, like as far as the overall game is concerned, I think I'm still more positive than I was about it. But at the same time, like I'm not forgiving all the issues we had before that, because they're kind of confirming everything we've been worried about going into it. And I am glad that, at least from the reviewer side of things, it looks like the core focus of the game actually running and being the original game. I'm glad that still shines through.
Yeah,
but
like a lot of this stuff...
I mean, the compression stuff that we were talking about, because I see people like, oh, there's leftover stuff in Lost World and yeah, that's literally every video game.
Every video game is leftover stuff. The issue though is that stuff is uncompressed, so we've got a 30-40 gigabyte game randomly for no reason.
it doesn't need to be this large. It does, like, even at 4K, it does not need to be as large as it is. And
Like a lot of the Wii shaders were left in the file directory as well, as opposed to being deleted, even though they're obsolete. So it's like it's pretty confusing what the process behind this was in some areas.
well, I do think we need to also, definitely stress that we're not developers, so I don't know exactly what I'm talking about, but for people that do know what they're talking about, it sounds like there's just a lot of uncleaned up mess with this behind the scenes.
So there's a concept that we all kind of know to be fairly true when it comes to several forms of art, and that's that limitation can breed innovation. So there's a thing that I kind of wanted to throw out there that's a little upsetting, but I feel true. The fact that computers in general, like all computers, not just PCs, but consoles, because consoles are still computers. The fact that these things are getting so powerful and it's so easy for developers to just go, yeah, we'll just have this as a 100 gigabyte thing. We'll just have this as a 200 gigabyte thing. It'll be fine. I feel like a lot of that, I'm starting to miss when devs had to compress these things to get them to work. Because now it's like, even when the opportunity's there, they're just like, it'll be fine. Your hard drive won't suffer too much.
I have to wonder, and I think it's going to come down to who's going to be willing to chat eventually, but it does feel like a lot of the issues with Sonic does come from higher ups more than anything else. And we know Blind Squirrel is capable of doing good things.
Oh, yeah.
Again, we need to stress, like, the port itself, once you get it in your hands, it sounds like Pup and Surf are having specific issues with it. It looks like a lot of reviewers, and myself specifically too, I've not had any issues. And I think the final product is okay. It's solid. But I do have to wonder, like, if somebody from Blind Squirrel eventually could chat and be like, no, we did what we could on the time constraints we could, because this is what Sega would allot for us, and this is the best we can do. And I am seeing people in here in our chat, like, being like, well, they did say they brought this in for, like, new Sonic fans or anything, and, like, from the movie. I don't give a shit. I'm not Sega's spokesperson. I'm not a product manager. I'm not anything. I'm not a Sega employee. I don't care why they did things. I care about the end product. It's not my job to shill for Sega. It's none of our problems.
We also can't read the minds of various higher ups and developers, but we can read the consequences of their actions, and that's as that's the only thing we can analyze. That's what we got to do.
But that's the thing. So can they, and they're not very good at it.
When will you learn,
I like how
Sega?
blatant,
That's your
Azuka
actions of
was, too.
consequences.
I did read this in an interview one time. Like, somebody just talked about Azuka's, like, he seems like a decent dude, but, like, when you get him talking, he just sounds like a corporate mouthpiece. And that's kind of always what I've gotten from him. And I think sometimes he's just been, like, openly blatant about the intention. Like, well, we're putting this out there because it's a good starting point for people, or this or that and the other. It's like, please corporate bullshit me a little bit better, man. Like, it's my 10th anniversary. We really care about this game, and just thought it'd be a great time to, take it off of the exclusivity and all this bullshit. I don't know.
Yeah. It's like, if you just wanted to take it off exclusivity, then just sending it as a standard port would have been fine. But instead, it has been marketed as this great, wonderful, amazing remaster with a higher price tag to boot. Not as high as what Nintendo does for their remasters, but certainly higher than what we get for other port jobs. Usually a port job gets you about a $10 or $20 game, and it sells a bunch, and it's fine. This coming out...
Like, if they had just said it's a port, I wouldn't have bought it. Whereas, like, with this... I straight up pre-ordered it twice, so to be fair,
but a lot of that
acumen works.
A lot of that comes back down to that corporate mouthpiece thing, though, because when you look at it and go, well, if it wasn't called Ultimate, despite not feeling Ultimate, I wouldn't have bought it. And like, well, yeah, that just kind of screams that a lot of this stuff came down to a marketing decision, as opposed to trying to actually get us something that feels as special as what it was advertised as. Now, again, does the game run okay? Yeah. Does the moment-to-moment gameplay feel fine, aside from a couple of bugs? Yeah, but this also just doesn't feel like any of the dressings on top of the original game were necessary, and in some cases have caused issues.
At the end of the day, I'm just of the opinion that Colors deserved a full-on remake. It deserved a little quality of life touch-ups like this, it didn't deserve a slapdash put out the door for new Sonic fans to pay attention, because we literally have nothing else on the market right now. And for some fucking reason, there's not a Sonic Mania 2 out there. So
Yeah, and I'm in agreement with you there. This is while not my favorite game in the Sonic lineup, or even my favorite game of the Boost era, as a game that was so critically acclaimed by by reviewers when it came out, especially because it came out during that turning point where like you just expected a Sonic game to review poorly, and then suddenly Colors came out and it didn't, and that was a huge thing for it. Despite any hindsight about the ways that we enjoy things like Unleashed and stuff now, Colors was and felt like a turning point, not just in the sense that this is a Mario game now, and it's kind of weird in that it's that. But it felt as a turning point that, like, oh, Sonic's getting his shit together. And then after this, we got Generations, and it continued to feel like, oh, Sega's starting to understand how to make this character work finally again. And it felt great. So
It was a display that proved to fans that Sega were listening, you know?
Yeah. And then when we get the remaster as it is right now, this feels like that legacy wasn't properly adhered to, I guess, and it makes me wonder, when we get the Sonic Origins collection, is a similar slapdash job going to happen with that?
yeah, I worry. I think that's gonna depend on who they actually hand it off to more than anything else. Again, sorry to spoil my script a little bit, but like I also compare this to like the game we're talking about next week, Sonic CD, and Sonic R and Sonic the Fighters, where none of those are the greatest in the Sonic lineup, but they bring in scrapped content. They bring in solid quality of life improvements. In the case of Sonic R, when they released it to PC and then later GameCube and everything, they flat out changed how you tackle some of those courses with, changes of weather and things of that nature. And, the bigger draw distance and everything. So while it was still a clanky game, it was the best version of that clanky game. And when you use the term ultimate, I do think it's important that you take care of that, because it doesn't feel like it was there to be the ultimate version of Sonic Colors. It feels like that term was used to be like, oh, Smash Brothers used that.
Yep.
So this must be good too.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like the best version of this game you could play.
This does feel like a stopgap measure. Like that's what we always assumed it would be, and that's what it is. And I have, again, like the base game is a solid one that I think is ripped apart a little bit too much by Sonic fans, but yeah, I'm very torn on it.
Put it this way, like, I think this is the ultimate Sonic Colors that exists, but it's not the ultimate Sonic Colors that could exist, if you get me. Like,
I don't think it's the ultimate Sonic Colors that can be played. Now, granted, if we revisit this, I hate saying this because it means we'll have to talk about Sonic Colors again. But if we revisit this in 2 months after a bunch of patching has happened to the game and they've been able to fix a lot of these bugs, then maybe I will be singing a different tune. But if I had to hand somebody a version to play, if they were familiar enough with the software, I would be handing them either the original Wii version, or I would be handing them run this on Dolphin upscaled if you can. This version of the game, pre a lot of patches. We've already had a 10 gigabyte patch. We've already had.
Is that true? Really?
Yes. Hell was in that thing.
Yeah, like we've already had a patch that is larger than the original game's compressed form. So
let's also, I mean, the one thing that for me makes this the ultimate Sonic Colors, and it's going to seem so silly, but the one thing that makes this the ultimate Sonic Colors experience for me is the new homing attack thing. How, like, you get rewarded with boost if you time it just right. It adds so much to this experience for me. I don't know what it is, but whenever I see a badnik now, I'm like, yes, let's see if we can get that homing attack. And because of this, my boost is never in short measure anymore. Whereas, like, in the original Colors,
you kind of had to ration it a bit.
Yeah, you had to really ration it. Here, it's like, oh, cool, there's a long stretch, I can use my boost now. So much better, in my opinion.
I think the only time where I had a problem with the boost meter was during, I don't know the names of these zones. The lobster thing that's chasing you in the Chinese water place.
Yeah,
Um,
the aquarium park, big robot boy man.
Yeah, that place is cool. I hate that stupid robot because they
Yes.
do not really allot you a whole lot of boost meter going into that encounter,
you
and
need
it is
boost
completely
dash.
randomized what moves he's going to be using. Maybe you'll get lucky. Maybe you just have to turn, to one side of the road. But I had one encounter where every single attack was the swiping maneuver where you have to dash forward to dodge it.
Without
Yeah.
enough boost to do it.
Exactly. Now, man, I don't want to rail on the game too hard. I feel like I've been very, very negative. There was a lot about this game I did like. Now, I think a lot of that is attributed to the initial design of the original title, but it's like, that is to say, there are things I'm enjoying.
Listen,
Um,
it's
put
not
it
an
this way.
unenjoyable game. We just when you love a franchise, you tend to be more critical towards it.
yeah.
That's what it comes
Put it-
down to.
When it is, yeah, we're gonna have to spend a little more time nitpicking and our venting our frustrations because a lot of us are here double dipping. We're not, kids playing this for the very first time, which is obviously the focus. And in that sense, yeah, the original game stands on its own, and I think, again, I keep saying over and over again, I think it gets way too much hate from current Sonic fans. Yeah, the Nick Jr. ass music playing behind some of the cutscenes is really cringy, but like I genuinely kind of chuckled at some of the jokes between Orbot and Cubot.
When you consider what we're doing from a robot's perspective,
Yes,
it's pretty
yes.
gruesome.
I honestly wish Orbot had stayed. Not Orbot, Cubot stayed as like a Western dude. Like, I prefer that so much over the like flamboyant fucking Cubot that they try to do now. But like, anywho, like I think it generally comes more from a place of resentment than actual. The Sonic fans think this game is bad, but like, I think like another thing I just wanted to kind of talk about for a little bit was what customization setups are you guys using for Sonic, if any?
I'm not using
Ooh.
any right now.
Since I got I'm gonna have 3 versions of this game. I went with the gold shoes because if I don't go with green because I haven't unlocked it yet, like I like gold stuff. Like I always liked that since a kid. It always made my stuff feel fancy. So I have like a couple of gold versions of systems. So I went with the gold shoes, and I used the movie Sonic stuff, which I thought was a cute touch. Just seeing the little, the glowing blue eyes and the streaks and electricity and all that shit. So yeah, it's fine, but it's
Yeah, I'm using like the chrome orange shoes just because I mean orange is just my color, I guess.
color. Yeah.
And
Whataburger.
and then I'm also using the movie Sonic effect where he's got like the electric blue spines. I want to say that looks fantastic.
It does.
I feel like if they want to make that a normal thing, like maybe not so much the glowing eyes at all times, but those electrics like spikes, it looks so good.
They should do the glowing eyes only while boosting. Like I think, like
Yeah.
if they're gonna do that as a
if
mainstay,
they're going to continue keeping boosting in,
I
don't-
think they should. I think they will, and that they should.
I don't see why they wouldn't continue keeping boost, though. It boost just feels like mechanically streamlined spin dash the more I use it, and I don't know when we get more Sonic games going forward I don't know if we're gonna keep it. I really don't, but I don't see why we wouldn't.
So before we go on that tangent, I just wanted to say that my setup for Sonic's design is I've got the movie cosmetics on, but I've also given him blue shoes and blue gloves. He's very blue, and I think it looks really cool and supercharged. And he looks really cool when he's getting saved by Tails.
Oh, so you're
So,
Check
bad.
that out.
I'll send a picture of it.
Yeah, I mean, God
I
damn it.
haven't
I
changed.
wish we'd gotten Shadow or Movie Sonic or Metal Sonic. I mean, those as
Yeah.
skins.
Yeah,
I don't think
was
we're
gonna
asking
say,
too much.
Like skins would have really would have been a really good selling point for this game. Like as it stands, it's quite nice to have a little middle ground between movie Sonic and regular Sonic, but like yeah, just some skins. Even if the only other skin is classic Sonic, it's still better than nothing.
I just thought of something. So I don't know if we brought this up in an earlier episode, but so this game uses the original cutscenes upscaled, which means that when you customize Sonic, none of those customizations get seen in cutscene.
Nope.
That feels
Sucks.
like a missed opportunity. Like
again,
that,
like this is the they would have to completely redone the cutscenes. I think that's such a big. That is more than anything else to me, like the clear sign, like we're doing the bare minimum with this thing.
It's a
Because
budget remaster, isn't it?
it
feels like
really
one.
is. This is like just they went to somebody they know could do the job right and do it as quickly as possible. And we threw in unused Sonic movie merch and just threw this out the door. It is as slapdash as it gets, but it's the only thing Sonic fans have to talk about right now. But again, if you're going to go a slapdash route, make it a boost compilation, make a quick little thing, just like little pages. Like we have an encyclopedia coming out, we have an art book out.
give us
It
Unleashed
would
on
not
PC,
take
please.
exactly. It would not take a whole lot to please Sonic fans. You know, if you just gave us more access to these games, as opposed to like these blatantly obvious, like it feels like you spent more time on the cheat sheet than the actual homework. You know, like it's just
Yeah.
and like Wayne, you said just about as much last time. Like they spent a lot of time trying not to work hard, but because again, we understand like none of this is easy. Even something like this is not easy to do, but it also shouldn't be this apparent, especially when Sega is taking so much more care of their stupid fucking monkey game. I'm sorry.
Listen, Monkey Ball's gonna be fantastic.
So why isn't Sonic? Why isn't he? He's more popular than Ratchet and Clank. He's more popular than II.
I guess we just have to wait for next year to really tell, because I don't think Monkey's getting a game next year.
Well, Monkey Ball's getting no, but I mean they are spending the time to take care of this re-release, and I just think it's only fair to ask the same with Sonic.
I'm gonna just wait and see if they spend the time with Sonic 2022, because it could be
it doesn't
that
matter.
Sonic Colors Ultimate.
They're two different developers, though.
And I'm tired of that conversation. I'm tired of us always moving the goal line, because this is what we do every time a game comes out. This is what happens every time a Sonic game fails to meet expectations. I'm going to reiterate, the Colors port is by and large a good time. If it's your first time with the game, granted where you're playing it might make a difference, if because I'm interested to see what I do with the Switch version. It's a great game, and it's always been a great game, and I like, just like how Mania did with the classic games, it comes back and tells you this is a good time. But we're hardcore Sonic fans, and I think it's okay for us to ask them to try a little bit harder, because we know what Sonic is capable of. We know what this franchise is capable of. And when we see other projects go that distance, I think it's okay for us to say Sonic deserves that much. Even if Monkey Ball is the only project happening right now, I just feel like they could have done a lot more. I should be as excited for Sonic Colors as anything else.
I do feel like it's at least done a little better than I've seen it in some instances, where it's like, all right, this has been marked down in price a bit. They're giving us Sonic Colors while we also know a larger project is in development. As fans of other franchises, we've had worse. I mean, the three of us here really like Metroid. And I think we all remember what the announcement of Federation Force felt like when we didn't have anything else to look forward to.
I remember there being fucking forum posts where people were just like, wait, guys, what if they're announcing Federation Force as filler and we're actually getting Metroid Prime 4 in the next couple years?
I had this crazy theory. I remember having this crazy theory where, it's kind of like what we do with Sonic sometimes, where we obsess over this one thing and we're just trying to turn it into something. We're trying to like spit it into something better. I remember I had this crazy theory. I was just like, whoa, wait. So wait, if we're playing as the Federation, what if it's this whole twist thing where you end up having to fight Samus and it's actually leading into Metroid Dread? What if they actually give us Metroid Dread? And man, I was really hopeful at the time.
I remember being young too.
So it was
but isn't it interesting though, like how Nintendo treats Metroid? Like we don't get a lot of stuff from them, but we are still waiting on the big, Metroid Prime 4 and everything. And
Yeah.
in the meantime, they still got like a competent secondary team to put together a game like everybody's excited for, like way more excited than we would be for like most
Oh,
other things. And
I'm-
I mean, like, why isn't Mania doing that?
I'm
get
more-
why they don't do that.
It's funny because I'm more excited for Dread than I was for Prime 4. I
Right.
care more
Yeah,
about a 2D game, but it's also like, I'm sorry, Nick, you had a point.
No, just that. Like, I think we all expected like staggered releases or a couple different teams working on something. Like Sonic's popular enough that
Yeah.
we could do any of these things, and I think that's a fair expectation to have, especially when they seem to be setting that up like in between like these big 3D releases. We'll have something like Mania, but it's been 3-4 years since then, so
I think more so than anything else, what's going on here is like we had Sonic Mania, which was treated as kind of a holdover for Sonic Forces, but then Sonic Forces felt like a holdover for something bigger. Now we've got Sonic Colors Ultimate, which feels like a holdover for Sonic Rangers. And will Sonic Rangers feel like another holdover? And I think that's the main thing. Is I think Sonic fans are tired of just having holdover games, things to just keep them occupied for a brief period,
We
and want something a bit more
next
substantial.
we want the next big thing. When Sonic Adventure came out, that was a big thing. When Sonic 2 came out, that was a big thing, and it was substantial, and it was a thing that kept people going for a while. Even when we got Sonic 06, despite all of the problems that game has,
It was a big event status game.
It was a big event status game. Yes, it felt like an event when it happened. It was a huge thing, and the game we got as the in between, the game we got as the filler, was Shadow the Hedgehog, which was also a big thing in terms of how important that ultimately ended up being,
Like,
as far
heck,
as like plot
let's-
stuff was concerned.
The reason why I've kind of resigned myself, though, to the fact that the next big Sonic game isn't coming and that it's just going to be smaller stuff now is because we had Sonic Generations, which was like the big Sonic game. Even that was quite a small one compared to other ones, like more focused on being an anniversary title than it was a big Sonic game. Then follow that up with Sonic Lost World, which was this Wii U exclusive thing, which for many felt more like just an experimental middle chapter sort of thing. Then Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, which just, did what it did. It's like the past decade has been mostly just, when is the next, big one coming?
I don't
And-
quite agree with that though, because those did feel like big releases. They just kind of fell flat. I thought Generations, maybe it's more because I'm an older fan, but I've not been as excited for Sonic Generations as I have been for a Sonic game in a long time. And leading up to that game, the fervor around Generations specifically was unlike anything I'd seen in a long time for Sonic. But
I agree. But
I
like,
do
at
think that success is kind of again what Sonic team seems to always do.
I
is learn
agree,
the
but
wrong
at
lessons.
at the time Generations came out, I believe it was the shortest modern Sonic game.
It is, but
It is,
I don't
but
think that's a bad thing.
The hype around it, though, I will say this: if you went into a GameStop around the time that game was releasing, the hype for it, the marketing for it, it was treated as a huge thing. And I think, and it didn't fall flat on its face, so it didn't feel like we were stuck with it for an amount of time. There are people who are still playing Generations over and over again right now and still
play it.
enjoying
Yeah.
all kinds of bits for it. The issue when we run into stuff like Forces and Lost World is those games, they feel smaller. When you play them, they feel much more compressed in comparison. Think about the amount of level variety in Generations, and then think about the level variety in something like Forces, and there's a stark difference between the 2 to 3 set pieces we get in a game like Forces, and then having fully reimagined the first, not counting Adventure 2, the first the second then fully reimagined Green Hill, the first time we had a fully reimagined Chemical Plant Zone, and then being able to see like a properly optimized version of Crisis City for people who did enjoy those aspects of 06. Like, Generations had a lot of love put into it. Just
Generations,
lot.
yeah, it does. It has easily some of the most love of any Sonic game. Don't get me wrong there. So, like, maybe Generations wasn't the best example, but what I mean is, like, Sonic games have downscaled massively over the past 10 years, and I think that's here to stay. Like, if you want another 6-hour Sonic game, like I do, I would like a 9-hour Sonic game. I don't think we're going to get it. There's that thing that Takeshi Iizuka said, like, around the time of, like, 2006, where this was prior to them, like, you know, finally biting the bullet and going in the colors direction. He said something like, if we had a game that was just Sonic running, the game would only be 2 hours long. And that's kind of what's going on now. They've kind of just resigned themselves to that. But my response to that is just make more of it then. Like, put more levels in one game. You know?
Well, it's not that easy, though, as we discussed on this show. Trying to, you know, create levels for a boost mechanic game is a lot of work. There's a lot of assets that go into that. Again, we're not game designers. I don't disagree with you as far as like the smaller scale. Like, you can tell the budget has definitely gone down, and then that might be just in terms of, like, you know, reflecting sales of the franchise in general. I remember on one of his blog posts, Blaze Hedgehog, I think that's what he calls himself, but like he had pointed out, like, when's the last time we've seen a budget like we have with Sonic Unleashed? You know, like, when was the last
that's
like
kind
a
of
big
like,
budget?
yeah.
And that I know that's what you're saying.
Yeah, nothing has
That's
felt
the
on that
thing is-
scale.
A lot of Sonic fans, I think, are waiting for the next Sonic Unleashed and are hoping that Rangers might be the next Sonic Unleashed. And I'm just going to straight up say, I don't think the next Sonic Unleashed is ever going to come. I don't think we're ever going to go that scale again.
I
think that's what they're going to be going for. That's the impression I got from giving us a silly tease over nothing. I think they are going to genuinely try to make it a big thing again.
I could honestly say I see it going either way, to be perfectly honest, because Nick, I do agree with you, but also Pup, I definitely understand where you're coming from on that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there may have been part of Sega where it was just sort of like they really were going all out for it, like as much as we shit on Sonic 06, and it's not for all wrong reasons. That game had ambition. They put a lot behind it, and they did the same with like Generations, and probably even like fucking Shadow the Hedgehog and stuff like that. Like, they put work and time and money into those things, and I don't know if the return on investment was really what they were looking for. It might not be worth it for them to try to go that scale again.
So I will say this, in terms of sales, Sonic games have not really dipped in sales all that much. If you look at the sales for Forces,
It sold really well, didn't it?
yeah, like Sega has been open with how pleased they are with the sales of Sonic Forces. Remember, even 06, as hated as that game was, it reached the numbers to become an Xbox 360 Platinum hit. Like, it's
still on shelves today.
The idea that the Sonic series is not selling enough to warrant there being more budget put towards it, I don't necessarily buy, because of how much the games are indeed selling despite whatever budget is being put into them right now. And especially if they do what Nintendo has historically done. If they're going to copy so many things about what Nintendo does in their game design, then they might as well do some of the business design things that Nintendo does. Because one of the things Nintendo's really good at is they will make an incredibly cheap to make marketable game, and they'll make a few of them, and that will fund their larger budget projects going forward. We'll get a couple of like new Super Mario Brothers games, or a Mario Maker or two, which really don't take Nintendo that long to make comparatively, and then we'll get a Mario Odyssey as like a giant event. Sega seems to have started adopting the build those lower budget items, but we don't seem to be getting the big payoff from that. Now granted, Rangers hasn't come out yet. I might end up eating my shoe when that comes out, but that is an aspect of Nintendo's model that they have done. They've always been very good at figuring out where to properly downsize, despite some of the ways in which it causes us issues, like with the Mario 3D All-Stars package. They're good about figuring out where to downsize so that they can just pump money aggressively into another bigger project.
The thing, though, with that Mario model, of that whole sort of thing of we make the smaller releases and have the big event status ones, is that Mario is at least relatively consistent with
Mm.
the timing between those small scale releases. With what we've had over the past decade of Sonic, it's been like Sonic Forces, wait 5 years. We don't want another Sonic Forces after another 5-year wait, you know? Like,
Yeah.
if you're going to do games like Sonic Forces, you need to do a lot of them. Like,
Yeah.
'Cause
one every 2 years at the very least.
Yeah, and I need to clarify because I got a lot of people saying that Sonic games sell this or that. I understand that. I'm not obviously it's still here despite itself. This thing should have been just demolished and forgotten years ago, but he is still here. I understand that they sell. I'm just saying that I doubt it's selling quite as consistently as it used to. And the big financial risks they take, they feel like they're not big deals anymore because it turns out they suck. I think Sonic Boom was meant to be a much bigger deal, but for all the reasons we already know about, it floundered and it failed. And you even said it yourself in one of your recent videos, Pup, mostly because of the weak point that was the Wii U game, a game that was on a system that didn't sell well.
Yeah,
and it kind of ruined the rest of it.
Terrible.
Yeah,
That was a
but like
bad idea.
there's no way they didn't sink like a bunch of money into that. But I don't know. Like again, like we really need to see what the hell they're doing, behind the scenes there. It's I don't know. It's fascinating. It's very, very interesting.
I want a tour of Sega.
I do too.
Yeah, like just like have Takeshi Iizuka take us on a tour and explain to us what the fuck is always going on and stuff. The truth is,
I just want to sit him down.
I
Like,
just-
all right, come on, for real, dude. Like, come on.
what's
Come on.
the strategy?
Come
What
on.
is this? Like, I mean, for all that gets said about it, to be fair, I still to this day revisit Sonic Forces. I'm still glad I bought it 3 times. Like, we
God.
shit on it. We talk about the state it's put the franchise in. But I find myself going back and doing SOS missions. Like,
Oh, I don't. I wish I could refund that,
I think
but
In
I'm buying
my case-
digitally.
in my case, I've barely got a fucking right to complain because I just fucking fuel the fire anyway all the time, and then I consume the outcome, and I'm like,
Well, I mean, we're
"Hmm,
content creators, though, man. Like, I'll be blunt, and I've said this before. I will say it in the video. I will say it 1,000 times. I would not have bought Sonic Colors day one if I wasn't making money thanks to Sonic and all you guys, paying attention to my goofy
you make a
nonsense.
good
I
point,
wouldn't have
but
either.
like,
Yeah.
you make a good point, but being a content creator doesn't make it necessary for you to buy it 3 fucking times, does it? Like,
No, that's me just being an obsessive weirdo. I definitely would have, after I found out
Me
about the
too.
Japanese version,
me
definitely
too.
would have picked it up.
The thing is,
But-
I think the key difference is, for the most part, I'm generally a happy obsessive weirdo. Maybe I'm just willing myself into that. I don't know. But to be honest, like, put it this way, I didn't have the most positive opinion of Sonic Colors, vastly because of stuff Wayne has said about it. Like, parts where it expects it to slow down, parts with the shitty platforming and stuff like that. But today I'm just sitting down and playing it with a big old smile on my face. I'm just like, yeah, new Sonic.
Yeah, I was having a good time with it. I really was.
I was about to be like, oh yeah, no, the Sonic Colors has really, got a new lease of life here. It's like, what am I saying? What am I saying? These problems are still here. I'm just happy. It's Sonic.
Yeah,
I'm happy with him.
you can like it's one thing that I think a lot of people don't realize when you take a critical eye to things, it doesn't mean that you can't still enjoy them. You can be overly critical about something, especially if you like it a lot, and still at the end of the day enjoy your time. Like, I've been enjoying my time on Colors despite the issues that I have encountered while playing, and the more issues
And-
that I will probably find going forward.
That's the thing, is like, I love Colors Ultimate from what I've played so far. This customization option has brought me a lot of joy. I don't know why. I really love character customization in games.
I like it better than I was, I was like, this is whatever, but I was still
I
like,
want more of it. Like, give us some DLC. Give us the werehog shoes, or like the fucking.
Dude, the Warehog shoes would be
I-
awesome.
I think it not costing extra money is what makes it okay for me. I don't think I'd be okay with the digital deluxe is already like pushing it for me.
Yeah, like, but like the point is, like, I'm loving it, and I think it's great, and I'm having a great time. But at the same time, I don't think the remaster holds up well under scrutiny because of the quirks that we've already talked about. And I guess it's kind of a bittersweet feeling as well, because it's kind of disheartening to me that Sega are still willing to give Sonic these half measures and release unfinished products to the public. But all the same, maybe we are just the guinea pigs here. But we're like, pay us to be beta testers. Don't make us pay you. Pay us.
It probably doesn't help that I put out a tweet yesterday saying I don't actually give a shit about Ultimate. So if you're not actually, and that's just the point I wanted. Like, I don't think we got the point of that. Was like, look, if you didn't like the original game and you're gonna keep bitching about boost gameplay, then don't buy it. Just don't buy it. That's as simple as that.
Give this man his review code, Sega. He doesn't give a fuck.
I will gladly. You know what? That's an interesting topic. I wanted to talk with you guys about because I've seen a lot of back and forth about it, and we're not trying to put anybody on blast. But I saw a lot of discourse yesterday on Twitter after Twit put up his video showcasing a lot of glitches in his review copy of the game. And a lot of people who work with Sega usually were like, yo, that's very unprofessional. And then there are other people like, hey, it's not his job to shill for Sega. Like, they gave him a thing to review and he's reviewing it. What do you guys think about all that?
I do find it strange. Wasn't he also playing the PS4 version on a PS5?
He was.
I think so.
Yeah, the same version that I have not been encountering any technical problems. I just find that weird.
He's also
I've
been
seen
playing
his,
it
I've
earlier.
seen the video though. The video doesn't lie. It's all there. But like
Yeah.
what I will say is like I think what a lot of people are kind of annoyed about is that Sega were always going to release a day one patch or something, but I don't think at the time he'd uploaded it anyone had heard anything about a day one patch. And it even says in the video it's there for constructive purposes because it makes it easier for Sega or Blind Squirrel to identify these issues if they're put in a concise way. And it's like, whatever you think of the content creator or whatever, that was a really solid video to give to Sega. It could be one of those things that's like, okay, maybe do it unlisted, maybe, but
He's not a beta tester.
That's what I'm saying. If it's not in his NDA, then like he has every right. Like
my only thing is that because we mentioned it before, is that there have been patches. Is that reflective of the game people will actually be paying for?
So
yeah.
So on, I do have a couple things to say about that. So one, he has no way of knowing which glitch, and this is not coming from somebody trying to defend TWIP specifically, but dude has no way of knowing which glitches Sega will or will not address in the future. So when you are showcasing, hey, I was given a review copy, this is how the game played when I played it, that's perfectly valid to do. And the point that is that the game that people are going to be buying later, nobody knows that. That is a point that can only be made with perfect knowledge after the fact. He has no way of knowing it, and nobody really has any way of knowing what stuff will be addressed, and if the stuff they addressed doesn't necessarily cause more problems in the future, because as we all know with video games, when you patch one thing out, there's always that chance that you will break something else.
Yep. Coding's a bitch.
It really is. You forgot a backslash here, so now the entire thing is spaghetti. But I will say this: if you're handed a review copy of a game, your goal is to review it. If you are reviewing particular aspects of it, or you are doing it in any particular way, I don't think there's necessarily an issue with it. If you are if your NDA is literally review this thing, give your honest opinion, and the honest opinion is this game feels incomplete. Oh my god, there's so many glitches in here. Here's this, list of all these glitches that are here. I don't see a problem with that. And I don't think that I feel as though there's this strange idea with people that corporations are their friend and that they have to come up to Sega's defense and be like, no, you're doing Sega dirty here. No, nobody's doing Sega dirty. Sega's A, not a person. B, not your friend. They do not care.
For money. Like they released the game in this state for money, and maybe there'll be patches somewhere down the line. But personally, if you were to ask me, I wouldn't say that this is currently in a presentable state. It's perfectly playable, but I think there's too many quirks that just stack up.
Playable and polished are two very, very different monsters.
Absolutely. And like, it fulfills its thing it needs to do in that like Sonic Colors looks better than it did before, but it's like taking a very average looking pig, smothering it in makeup, but then shooting it. So like you've got a nice made up pig here, but it still has some gaping bullet wounds.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
man,
that-
yeah.
Is that
yep,
lipstick,
okay.
or are you bleeding
Welcome
out?
to the pig allegory, guys. Pig theory confirmed.
Oh god.
But
I
I don't
alright,
have a,
just we'll see how reactive, how true those particular statements stay when I start reviewing the third party stuff, like Heroes and 06 and all that shit. We'll see. Because that was kind of my thoughts on those games when they came out.
So I'm interested to hear what your thoughts will be when it comes to those games, because I know that at least with Heroes, my perspective shifted in some weird ways when I started playing it again, and some of my old gripes actually just kind of went away.
I'm
Not all of
genuinely,
them.
I genuinely I'm curious after all this time playing 06 again and being like, with that, not being as mad as I was in the year 2006, and actually talking with a lot of fans about why they love it. I mean, that's the point of my show. So that said though, like everything you're saying is like, wow, this all sounds so horrifically familiar. God, just history just keeps repeating itself.
The Sega does not learn when it comes to the Sonic franchise. This is something we've all come to expect.
When will you learn?
Your actions have
consequences.
Oh my god, we got to get him on the show.
Oh
And,
yeah, I've heard he's doing well.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
no, he's a Chad now. Like he does.
I've tried to reach out to him before for that big S3K video last year, but never heard
Yeah.
back from him.
To be fair, you're a bigger boy now.
He does a lot of self parody now. Like if you've seen his
I mean, good for him, honestly.
he
Good
still
for
does
him.
the act. He still does the whole act, and like he knows his audience. He does good. Good for him.
Yeah. Well, I think we said just about everything we can say for initial impressions for Sonic Colors, unless there's anything else you guys you want to kind of bring up. No,
I
It's a
think that about
colorful
covers
day in the
everything that I
neighborhood.
really wanted to say. I mean, I'm pretty sure each of us is going to be doing our own videos on this game.
Oh,
Right.
hell yeah, I've already
I'm
got
kind of
mine in
reserving
work.
some of my thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah,
was
like I literally had my video 60% edited until Premiere crashed and I lost everything. And I was just like,
I'm
I am
so
at
sorry
my
for you, man.
fucking limit.
I'm sorry
God.
about that, dude.
I'm going to become the Joker.
Yeah, I'll be. I think it's after I come back from anniversary stuff this weekend is when I'm going to be doing my video on this, because that'll also give me a chance to play everything. Damn it, it's not a coloring book.
I'm gonna let mine soak, and I really just got to quit my day job. Is what I got to do, because everybody else gets their videos out before I do. But I also I don't know. I really like simmering in my thoughts, so I don't know when it will come out, but I'll definitely be bringing it out. And then, thanks to my patrons, we're gonna visit the Sega Saturn games finally. So that's what I will be doing. We're kind of promoting our shit we're supposed to be doing this at the end, and we're not at the end of our episode yet.
we still need to do the super chats yet. Like,
Yeah. I think
Yeah, which
it's time to do that.
also,
might be a good time to
my
move on to
God,
that,
you
yeah.
guys today have.
I
you
know.
You can't make
Jesus.
this up. You guys are. Oh man, I really wish you'd stop sending money. That it really hurts me. Honestly,
I just the insane amount of generosity after I flat out said at the beginning, like, we're gonna wait to talk about it. It's been an actual challenge.
it's
Yeah.
just been
Just go-
such a big surprise.
Just go, oh my fucking god, what is happening?
I was like, is this
yeah.
a gamble? Are people just not going to super chat if we like save it till the end? But then you guys decided to eventually just start throwing money at us for some reason. But it's fine. I'll be your stripper. It's all good.
So let's start. Way past Cool Kid sent us $4.99. Good morning, Sunset City. Laughing face. So glad I close out my day listening to them good old boys. Heart smiley face. Also, Pup, great reviewer slam video on point. So
Why,
you definitely
thank
did
you, Way
speak to
Past
some
Cool
people
Kid.
there.
Oh,
Like, and-
I'm glad. I'm glad.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said. Even if I am playing devil's advocate for the mentioning 06 or anything like that, there is still a genuine frustration within the community that everyone's trying to move on from, because there's a lot worth saving in that era of video games that people miss. So I thank you. I'm sure a lot of people also have to say thank you to you're pointing that out, because that was a really kind of a trash review that you just kind of tore into.
Then I guess
I don't
the
think that killed me. It's why I'm dead, isn't it?
it's you listened to. It's like when Nick listened to that IGN review on his channel. That's the thing that kills you. That's how you die.
Oh yeah, like Nick, wasn't that like your first video as well? Was like the whole Sonic was never good thing. I
Yeah,
remember-
that's why I started it, because like I was like, I need to talk about the discourse of this community.
No, but it's so funny because like you look back on like if you watch that video retroactively, you expect it to be like your average game apologist video where it's like you get into the game and stuff, but you get this instead completely original perspective on that fucking thing. Because like to be honest, there's not much that can really be said about Sonic 1 that hasn't already been said, other than that is a cultural icon. But I thought this
Right.
reflection on how like gaming journalists have been dicking our little blue boy around, like, yeah, no, I think it kind of unlocked something within me.
And I appreciate that. There was a point I made in that original video, though. It's not undeserved either, as exhausted as we are of it. And we're going to be seeing. I think we're going to be talking about this a lot every time with our Ken Penders video with everything related to Sonic. There is definitely something to be said about these reviewers that generally just treat the fan base like shit, and no wonder they get as defensive as they do. But at the same time, it is on Sega to, prove themselves and with their, their flagship franchise, because we
Yeah.
see them not accelerate, but
Yeah.
they, I mean, they do so well with a lot of their other franchises, even the less popular ones. And Monkey Ball deserves the care it's getting right now. It's not as popular as it was, but it deserves this much love. I don't understand why Sonic's not. So that's another thing entirely, but thank you, Pup, for that video. And if you guys haven't seen it yet, please go check it out. It's called How Not to Review Sonic Colors Ultimate, right?
I think it was called Sonic Colors Ultimate versus Gaming Journalism.
I think I was just thinking of the thumbnail then.
Yeah, just a thumbnail.
Okay. Well, continuing on then. The next one. Oh wow, God, guys, we got so many.
The next one's from
I
that
gotta
Jordo.
scroll. Yeah.
The next one's from
I
that
gotta
Jordo, and it's
R.I.P. Pup. Rest in
yeah,
peace.
$5. Rest
Chanel
in
dog.
peace, Chanel dog.
Chanel
Channel
dog.
Nothing personnel, Chanel dog.
I smell really good. I'm wearing my airport fragrances and I'm resting in peace.
AKA Shodan sent us $20. Did we?
There was no
this is-
context.
So
there
saying-
was no message.
Well, there's the same friend. Like, was it like last week or the week before that sent us money but didn't have a comment and then resent something so they can get a comment going?
I think that might have been him. But as it stands right now, thank you for the $20, Akashodin. You
We
truly
appreciate it.
are a Samaritan within our little city.
Jeremy Montoya first, because this is not their only time, sent us $100.
For
Thank
fuck's
you.
sake, Jeremy. Jesus.
Not sure what to say, even though they do this multiple times through the run of this episode.
You figured
Just
it
wanted
out.
to support my favorite Sonic weirdos. Keep up the great work, fellas. We will, Jeremy. Thank
We'll
you
do
so
our
much.
best.
And Devin McCann, again, just weekly generous. I'm getting stressed, like, because I'm like, I don't know if I would have this much money to spend. I don't know if you guys should be doing this, but thank you. Yeah, send us $50, saying everyone should send money now to make Nick uncomfortable, which
You did.
I
You
don't
did it.
think he's uncomfortable enough, guys. I mean, like,
Oh my god.
I think
Oh,
we need to
stop.
make Nick very uncomfortable.
we need to turn him inside out. We need to make him as uncomfortable as the time Cirrus was in a state of undress.
Jeremy Montoya, send us again $5. It just says what?
What?
I guess
he,
he's
he corrected himself on the previous one. That's it, because he said not sure want to say, and he's corrected it with what
What?
here. There you go. We
That's
got ourselves
the,
a
that's the
$5
new
correction.
meta. You have to spend $5 to add an asterisk.
Your corrections
The new-
will cost you.
Oh my god! Imagine if Twitter did that. They're just like, okay, you have an edit button, but it costs you.
Doesn't that what they do? Like, you have like a 3-second button if you get like Twitter Premiere or some bullshit like that.
Oh,
Is
I
that
could-
real, or is
What?
that just one of those
What is the
boomer
Twitter
things that
premiere?
people believe?
I don't know.
I'm just.
I've that sounds like Facebook gold to me. Like,
Oh my god!
All right, well, let's keep going.
From Black
Black
Yakuza.
Yakuza. Yeah. Is it Black Yakuza? Because it says Black Yakuza here.
it's
Oh,
Black
Yakuzu.
Yakuzu 94.
Oh, okay, I'm wrong. I can't read.
3D Sonic reviews are a meme at this point. By now, some people should have blown them off, but some fans just aren't going to let it go.
I'm not
Sonic
gonna let it go.
Adventure 1 is amazing.
Look,
it depends on the reviewer at this point. I don't, you know.
I had a very fun time pouring my entire childhood into my Sonic Adventure 2 video.
Yeah, and I do need some people to be a little bit more objective, but yeah, we've already talked about it to death at this point. We're all a little bit tired of 06. While I do understand it, the 06 stuff. You know what they really should do if they really just had the balls, and I've said this before, remake 06. Just do it. Just do it,
Yeah.
you cowards.
From the ground up.
Like literally, like have a story that involves Mephiles wanting to scorch the earth in the flames of disaster, and just have that as your base point. Boom.
Have Ian Flynn localize it so it makes a little more sense over here in the West.
Have Zack Snyder direct it.
I swear to God. And yeah, just redo it. You cowards. We're getting a Mephiles plush. That's a little bit of news we missed, but yes, we finally seen the Mephiles plush,
Plushes.
as well as Whisper and Emerald.
Redo the story of Sonic Forces, but include Tangle and Whisper in the plot.
There you go.
Do it.
So, shall we move on to the next one? We got Devin McCann with $4.99 says more money equals more uncomfortableness.
Yes.
So in
And
other words,
it followed
he's
up
coming-
too.
He
Yeah, he
did.
followed up too. Not with $9.99. Down with
the
Channeled
Channeled
Pup. Send more money because
you
more
cannot
money
defeat
meant
the CEO of comedy.
Destroy him. He's already a grave. We have to grind the stone into dust now.
You'll never get my ashes, Cirrus.
But I want to snort them.
Well, you won't. They will. be-
Jeremy Montoya sent $50 that just says money.
I mean, that
And
is what $50 is.
It
I mean,
is-
he's not lying. It's an honest super chat.
I sincerely appreciate it. That Jordo, $8.33. He should make it look like a
B.
B. I just got it.
Yeah.
He made a B out of his money.
Yep, he did.
Oh, that's
Damn
clever.
it.
That's
it's
clever.
a B.
Oh
that's
God,
creative.
I love it. Anyone else want to take over? I've just been doing.
I can
doing a
I
lot
can do
of
the
it.
next one.
Oh, yeah, go for it, sirs.
Despite my inability to read, which is probably going to hinder this, Devin McCann for the $9.99 super chat. Thank you very much for that. Keep the money coming in. We can break the show. You will never break us, though you can try.
You can enhance us.
Don't break your bank, man. Oh my God.
From Fire Red Emblem for $12. More money. It's in caps and it's spelled in the memey way, so I have to do it that way. There's no
In,
more
in the,
money.
in the standard internet dialect, yes.
More
Letterick
money.
sent us another $50. Guys are way too nice.
Yep.
Damn, Wayne, get into it. So yeah, when Wayne was really
that was
tearing
the
into this
slay
fucker.
queen of the chat.
Yeah.
like Wayne.
Yeah, I was getting into it, all right?
Get his ass, Wayne.
My God.
The next one we have is from SonicBot for $20. I only have one problem with the Wisps, and it's their. Oh wait, no,
This
there's one
one.
more before that.
Wait,
There's one
we
more
did
before
this
that.
one. We did this
From
one, yeah.
Devin McCann for $4.99. We can make it to $1,000 today.
Devo.
Nearly, you're getting there. Jesus,
you guys are very. You guys.
You guys
you're doing
suck. You guys
No.
got too much money.
We appreciate it, guys.
This is
We
why
appreciate
Trey made
your,
that meme. This is why Trey made the meme.
we need a leash for this dog.
Yes.
with all this money, we can buy a cake.
a cake or Coke?
A cake Coke. A Coke
We
cake.
We having a Coke
Wait,
cake party, guys?
Coke cake.
Yeah, hell
Coke
yeah.
cake
Let's
is
snort some
delicious.
fucking cake.
Y'all ever had
That's-
Dr. Pepper floats?
What the fuck is a Sonic?
All right, so
Seriously, we all
Sonic
need to have
Box.
Coke cake.
Sonic. Wait, is Coke cake a thing? I was just thinking
Yeah.
of like, wow,
What?
okay, we
It
don't
is?
have that in England. I was
Go to-
thinking we
I
would.
you said Coke, and I was thinking the soda.
Yeah, I know. I
that's-
was thinking we were
I
going
was
to have
talking
some
about the
kind of
hard
party.
drugs.
Yeah. Okay, so at least one
I
of
was
us sees
talking
eye to
about
eye then.
Crack rock
No, there's
cocaine.
literally if you go to Cracker Barrel, they sell a Coca-Cola cake and it's delicious.
But if you go to the Cracker Barrel behind the alleyway, it's just a barrel full of crack.
I mean,
And it's caked on the side.
man, Cracker Barrel would be
cake.
the place.
Okay, so speaking of things that I want to inject into my eyeballs, we got Sonic Bot here with $20.
$20.
And says, I only have one problem with the wisps, and it's their utilization. Sonic Colors is a lot better about it, but there are times where a wisp path is laid on top of the normal path, like the laser path that forms a star. And you're absolutely right. I personally think the best implementation of the wisps is in Sonic Forces, but that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, well,
It seemed faster paced in Forces, actually, now that you mention it.
Yeah.
I
To
mean,
be
also it's
fair,
helped by the fact that you don't literally transform into an animal.
yeah.
it's also kind of like it's kind of the whole point of colors. So
Yeah.
It is. So I actually don't personally mind wisp paths being layered where regular paths are, because to me that just kind of adds a little bit of replay value. Like, okay, I can enter this level and I can do drill wisp now, and I can go under here and see what's under there. Now, if anything worthwhile is under there, that could be the bigger problem. But I don't mind the layering too much.
So next up, Devon McCann, or as we would call him in the UK, Devo, sends $4.99 and says, now everyone should send a chili dog to the crew. And Devon McCann began this with a 99-cent hot
Different.
dog with ketchup.
Yeah, he
And
spent,
then
he
followed
spent
it
money
up
on a hot dog.
It was metaphorically a chili dog.
With $9.99, donations seem to be slowing down. Let's try and start it up again. Devon, you should really work in like fucking what's the name of those telethons? You know?
Hmm.
Oh, man.
That's
Well, what's funny is that, hey, that little ploy worked, because right after that, Jeremy Montoya with another $50. Happy birthday to my friend's grandma. She turns 84 today.
Happy birthday to the grandma.
happy birthday, friend's grandmother.
happy
I'll say this,
birthday.
Devin. Can I just when I have my subathon on Twitch, can I just have you in the chat as the hype man?
Stop, Devin. Just
No,
be
but
careful
for
with your
real,
money,
here's-
please.
It's-
Here's to
We're not worth it.
I'm getting genuinely stressed out at this
No,
point.
this
I'm not
isn't
kidding.
me asking
Here's
for his
to-
money. This is asking for him to be a hype man.
Here is to 84 more years of Devon's friend's grandma. Oh wait, what was
That was Jeremy Montoya.
Jeremy Montoya's grandma.
Who
Jeez.
kept oh god. So yeah, and Devin McCann sent us another $5. The power of donations is mine to command.
It's true.
Oh my god.
And then Jeremy Montoya came back again, and he believes that his Metroid hype is worth $100. And
I believe
let me
it.
tell you, you are worth $1 million, Jeremy Montoya.
You're wonderful.
You're
Breathtaking.
breathtaking.
I forgot my Keanu references.
And then
Damn it.
Mr. SP, who is dear to my heart. I love Mr. SP.
Yeah.
Sends
He's our
us-
patron, both of our patrons, right?
Yeah, he is. He's
Oh,
a
and
patron for
mine.
both of us.
Fuck, what a
Um,
great dude. Fuck
yeah.
you, Cyrus.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah,
him.
fuck
Don't-
off,
don't- don't.
You really expect people to pay for tits? Come on, don't be ridiculous.
Oh god.
So Mr. SP says Sonic Colors Ultimate is just an appetizer for the main course next year, but that doesn't mean it shouldn't get the care and attention it deserves. It could be worse, but it should be better. You've summed
I
it up
agree
right
with
there.
that.
Seat Link said very,
Yeah,
very.
why
versatile
why
said.
don't you do the YouTube
You
from now on?
you managed in a single super chat what took us an hour and
Wait, hang on,
45
did we?
minutes to communicate.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
seriously, we're shit.
Next
That's
is
like-
that Jordo donated another $10 in. Oh my god, can you imagine what Sonic 2021 will be looking like right now if Sega never made that Wii U exclusivity deal? Rise of
Okay.
Lyric could have actually been good. The show'd still be around, etc.
It
I
is,
agree. I agree.
It is interesting to just kind of like wonder these sort of like what if scenarios of like, man, if only they had given this game what it needed.
Yeah.
What could it have been like? Because I think they were initially very excited for the prospect of Sonic Boom.
Yeah.
I mean, they immediately had a cartoon going for it. They were like, okay, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do like a spin-off on the 3DS.
Dude, you guys ever watch like the launch trailer for Rise of Lyric? That thing is emotional. It's a beautiful trailer.
Yeah, they cared about it, and I think it could have been.
adventure vibes almost when I was watching it.
Yeah.
This is the thing. I said it in my video, and I'll say it again. Sonic Boom, if given the care it needed, could have been an improvement on the Sonic brand, but now it's just a relic of history.
I'm sorry to say it again. I appreciate the clever writing. I did not want it to survive. I'll appreciate it, post mortem, but I'm still very much in the mindset like I didn't need another Jack and Daxter looking thing. I didn't need, I don't know, this very confusing mess or a boring game. And like, I'm glad you like the
game would
3DS
have to
games.
the game would have to be fundamentally different. Like I've said this myself. Like the problem with Rise of Lyric isn't just the execution, but the fact it's a boring as fuck game. But like that's a subject. For
Well,
another time.
just even for its strengths, I'm not going to miss it a whole lot. I am going to miss, again, more than anything else, just writing that's genuinely funny from the show. That's going to be the worst of it. But everything else,
Yeah.
I'm
No,
whatever about.
That's
that-
completely.
I do want to say though, you do have to wonder, because that Wii U exclusivity deal, it was a Nintendo exclusivity deal. It was Nintendo's shitty Wii U and the 3DS, which was doing much better at that time. And you have to wonder, because again, like, they were very clearly pushing towards a Nintendo styled Sonic. I think even Waluigi at some point in our chat had said, Azuka had said specifically that. I'll have to look it up for myself. But I wonder how they were doing financially, like if it was like the smart move or not. I don't know, because they definitely made some pretty financially disastrous blunders there, and being on a system that was doing horribly certainly didn't help things out. So I don't know. Hindsight's 2020.
Frey, my beautiful husband Trey Nobles, has donated $9.99 and says, "Here's a donation for the road. I gotta get packing for California. I love all of you. You're all amazing." Well, I love all of you too, Trey.
Every inch of you,
We
Every-
all love you,
all
Trey.
9
last
inches of you.
No,
You'll always-
granny. Every
You'll always be our
last
unofficial
crevice.
fifth member.
We love you, Trey.
Wait, is Trey the
Uh,
unofficial fifth member? I thought this was just a permanent thing.
I mean, okay, you're the
Well,
official
Trey's
fifth member.
literally- Is Trey not right here, right now, next to me?
Oh yeah,
He's
he
the-
is. He just put
He's
his
the
guitar
people's
away.
fifth member.
What the fuck is this man next to me? Seriously. So then Devo comes back with $4.99.
Devin.
But I'm British. I have to call him by his British name.
Wait,
Says-
what?
Well, how
What
is Devo with a British name? What?
It would be spelled like DEVVO. Devo.
It would not. It would not.
literally
It
is.
would, like, if we knew
That's
a
not how
Devon,
names work.
any oh, what? So Suris, your name shortened isn't Sue then in that case. Don't chat shit.
What
Um,
are you talking about?
So anyway, Uncle Devo says,
does
"What
one
is the
get
total
dick from-
donation?
How does one get dick from Richard?
What is the total donation amount for today, Nick? Yeah, Nick, how much money do we have?"
Do you-
well,
I can tell-
actually, it's
Profit.
there's one in there.
I
So
can
if
I can tell
you
you
wanna
exactly
tell
how much it is. $640.05.
Oh my god.
I can
Oh, I'm getting a new
Jesus.
pair of shoes.
I can tell you
Nah, I'm
exactly
going
how
to
much is
donate it
there.
to charity.
God. This is almost like it's so much.
Why do you
are
guys
so
throw money
generous.
at us? We're just talking about blue hedgehogs.
We
need
do
to
love you
change-
guys so much.
need
You'll
to
make
change-
this show what it is.
We need to change our name from Sunset City to Sunset Strippers because we are making that. So then,
Sunset strippers with infinite possibilities.
Make
So
it
I should,
Wayne.
I should get this next one though, because
yes.
I feel so embarrassed after screwing up that one time. But the evil Dalek gave us £2 weekly donation for me, because why not? Delic. Gosh, I'll never
Delic.
live that down. What a dumb asshole, dumb, stupid, dumb thing to do. Shit. Anyway,
Jesus. And the correct way to pronounce it was served to you on a fucking tray.
right. And Evil Dalek gave us another £2. Oh wow. Hello,
Wait.
Trey.
Wait, no, because Trey gave $4.99 to say, "Hey, Delic." and then Evil Delic decided he was going to have an expensive conversation with Trey.
I hadn't decided whether or not I believe Trey exists, so I apologize. But
Trey isn't real.
Trey died, actually.
Well, Trey's right here next to me. What do you want about?
He was betrayed.
Oh.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
That's
Wayne,
why
you
I
want to
hate
take this
him.
one?
Let's see. We also have Jeremy Montoya once again with $50. Oh, stop. You're going to make me blush, pupper.
No,
Stomp
we're
it
going to dinner.
wrong.
We're going to dinner. Like, whatever steak you
Stomp.
want.
Jeremy,
we're
I
getting it.
legitimately hope you have a good paying job because I am honestly stressed out. I would not have that much money to give anybody. So thank you, because that is alarming.
Oh, man.
It is
Yeah,
a lot to be dropping.
I feel
the
like
amount
you're
of-
getting to the point where you're like, okay, you guys have to go murder somebody for me, and we'd have to oblige.
And
Yeah,
now I'm
there's this-
slightly frightened for my place in the societal structure of crime.
There's this Sega representative. I need you to put him on ice for me, okay?
Make him an offer you can't refuse. There's just like an echidna head in your bed in the morning.
You want a Sonic game on this, the day of my daughter's wedding.
And then when we get Sonic Rangers, look how they've massacred my boy.
Where's my sarsaparilla?
Why is it still sarsaparilla? We're not known for sarsaparilla.
Sarsaparilla!
He's just meshing all American culture together. Is all he's
It's me,
doing.
Uncle Paulie.
Don't you know-
Tony,
Sar-
how's your wife, Marie?
Only America exists. There's only one American culture, indistinct from any other American
Hey,
culture.
yo, it's Uncle Paulie. Hey, yo.
Well, I think we've reached a very natural endpoint to our conversation.
haven't.
except
Nope,
for
not
one-
anymore.
Got another one.
Time to form the Sonic Spirit Bomb. Share your money with them. Jesus Christ.
But we want to go to bed, Black Yakuza. Well,
We're gonna go to
to.
Disneyland at this point. Shit, are you kidding me? Look at this.
Daddy needs a new pair of shoes, and apparently he can afford them.
Daddy wants to quit his day job so he can keep making content, and I'm getting more confident that we can because
Seriously,
we do
for
have
real.
people.
At this rate, I'm
Fucking
going to
quit
stick my
your
dick in a
job.
bowling ball. It's going to be amazing.
This literally is more money than I make in a week in my job right now.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
what we're doing on this.
Oh, yeah, it's almost double what I make in a week.
This is going to be a horrible
Or
podcast
wait,
to
in,
listen
like,
to
2
now.
weeks.
Like, who is going to want to listen to this though? Like, look, these men are getting money. How entertaining!
Jesus Christ, Devin, no.
Devin.
For fuck's sake, Devon, Devo.
We're not challenging you. I'm genuinely worried about your bank account. Please.
Please, look. Okay, we so appreciate all of your guys' generosity. Please do not put
So we're-
yourselves in a bad
Here's what we're gonna
financial
do.
If I
situation.
No,
ever meet
here's
you,
what
I'm
we're
gonna
doing.
Give you
No.
a special cuddle for real.
So, Devin, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you. We're ending the show. This is too much money. So
We're cutting
I
you off.
appreciate it. We
We
appreciate
have
it, guys.
to.
Yeah, we got it. Next
We
week,
got a shit. We got a shit.
we got a shit and
We do.
cummed.
Fuck. Okay,
you gotta-
no one said
gotta-
anything about that, man.
Wait, gonna cry? Gonna piss your pants? Maybe shouldn't come. Anyway,
So-
I'm gonna
yeah,
put
so-
some dirt in your eye.
Yeah, so next week we are going to be finally getting to our retrospective of Sonic CD, which we've now pushed off for a couple weeks at this point. So I'm going to be on Twitch this week playing that. I am going to be playing a little bit more Sonic Colors at some point, and I'm personally going to be finishing up my Psychonaut stuff, and I got a Sonic speed reading coming down the pipeline. My patrons will begin that probably tomorrow. But that's what's going on for me. Cirrus, what are you up to, you weird pile of cum?
so later on today, I've got an episode going up about Magic the Gathering stuff. People are mad about Street Fighter and Magic the Gathering collaborating, and I just don't understand it, so I'm bitching about that. Next week, though, Trey Nobles, who has been very generous and has never appeared on the show once ever, never mispronounced anybody's names, is going to be appearing on my live stream, and we are going to be having potentially a more down-to-earth discussion about our individual histories with Sonic stuff. We tried to figure out a different game to talk about, and we both ended up just landing on Sonic again because, dear God, none of us have any lives, and I hate everything. But besides that, that is a thing that we're going to be doing live over on my Twitch channel, and then that's going to become a video on the Nekosaurus channel when that conversation is done. So yeah.
There we go. Wayne, what are you doing?
Oh man. So I'm really just kind of getting stuff ready for Metroid Month. I should have a review of The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, the Game Boy version, not the Switch remake. I may briefly address that, but I'm mostly focusing on the original. That should be coming out like mid-September. Because I'm thinking I could probably just schedule it out for that, just so that everything feels a little more even. But yeah, no, October is going to be big, and I can't say too much on it right now, but I keep bringing up this little secret project. Well, let me tell you, that sure made some headway recently, and has basically been confirmed, and I wasn't entirely sure what the status of it was. It's happening, and it's probably going to be within the first weekend of October, coinciding with Metroid Month, and it won't be on my channel. That's all I'm saying for now.
We're really excited for you, man. All right, Pup.
Well, my little message for the audience today is somewhere in the world there's a little manlet with all kinds of skeletons in his closet, and if you want to make that man very happy, go on over to my channel, subscribe to it, watch the videos, share them around with your friends and family, and show them what a fucking weirdo you are. And of course, the same applies to the three men by my side as well. Get on over to their channel, subscribe to their asses, and make them all very, very happy.
I'm so close to 100K, guys. Come on, I want that button so bad.
Get Nick to 100K, get me to 69K, so I can overtake the British government.
Nice.
In subscribers. And yeah,
is that true?
I'm very close to overtaking the UK government in
Oh
subscribers.
my God.
Jesus.
And Lord knows I deserve it more than they do.
Well,
And we've got
Devin
more
McCann
super
drained the rest of his
chats.
account. Yeah.
Devin McCann is now filing for bankruptcy.
Devin McCann. We're gonna do this 2 in a row. I'm sorry. So Devin McCann sent $1.99. Here's the rest of my bank account. Followed by that Jordo with $5. Next week's episode, Surus gets a call from the IRS.
And then Devin McCann fucking lied. Go sit in the fucking corner, Devin. We don't do liars here, man. Sit in the corner.
Man.
And how could you be so fiscally irresponsible?
Before we go, what is the final money count with $2 from Evil Dalek?
Ever changing.
The final money count now is $711.80.
That's
Never
not even a
7-Eleven.
number anymore. We've entered the alphabet in terms of numbers now.
Welcome to 7-Eleven. We have lots of money.
Oh no,
Surus,
Surus, no.
no,
Oh, well,
no.
okay.
Sure, nope.
Fun time on the show, guys.
Oh,
but we are now
God.
officially canceled.
You had
Show's
to
over.
get us fucking Surus!
Surus, why? Aren't you like the one who talk? You're just the moral compass, aren't you?
Surus, for fuck's sake.
You know,
All
at one
right,
point,
thank
Wayne
you.
was the moral
Fuck's sake,
compass when he
Surus.
came back from death.
Thank you all for joining us this week
Better have had
on
permission to do
Sunset
that.
City. The sun is setting on this podcast. Thank
your
God.
bank
Oh
account.
And
my
our
God.
internet reputations. Oh God,
We
For
need
fuck's
rest.
sake.
Uh,
What the fuck?
See you next week.